Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pals at ADT Taxis, Feed Me, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.
Evening, guys. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV for the special FA Cup semi-final special show. So yeah, look at that. Look how good that looks. As Leicester take on Southampton this weekend in a massive game for the club. We'll also be joined by Glenn from Total Saints podcast to get his view on Southampton and the game on Sunday. We'll also go through the West Brom and Southampton game with him. We'll also talk about the late Frank Worthington. We'll talk about his time at Leicester and Southampton. So yeah, let's go on with the show. So let's get the good evenings in. So LCFC great, come on you foxes. Ross Wesner, evening Jack, evening mate. Mark, hello. Read it, evening lad. Excelon, SRB, evening bro. Sean Savison, evening mate. LCFC Grey lived the dream, evening pal. So it's going to be an interesting show, guys. Peter Shelley, evening mate. Evening Hassan, evening Jamie. And evening Richie. Right then, guys, let's get on with the show. And let's add in, we're going to be joined by Jay, the R of J and R. Ross, evening pal.
Evening, I've had my ears lowered now, so it's all good.
Yeah, let's rub the 9-0 in Ross at 9-0 o'clock. Evening James Hill, mate. Evening pal. So let's get the special guest in tonight, which is Glenn from the Total Saints podcast. Evening, hello. Glenn, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I said to I said to all the on the Saints FC,
we want Ralph.
Yeah, we want Ralph. Okay, yeah, thanks. Unlike Ross, I've not managed to have a haircut yet, so I've not really kept the look going. I knew we were going to be playing 9-0 bingo. I didn't expect it to happen before I even got on the show.
Don't blame us. Don't blame us.
There you go. But no, nice to be here, lads, and looking forward to having a chat.
You're right then, guys. Please like and share this video and subscribe if you're new around here, guys. It'd be much appreciated. Right then, guys. So the FA Cup semi-finals, Leicester versus Southampton, is going to be a very interesting game, isn't it, Ross?
100%. I would say, forget what's happening, obviously, at the moment in our club. I think this is our first semi-final since 1982. Now, so I did a video earlier. See, in 1982, a lot of things happened. My mum and dad got married on the 24th of April, so not long after this game on Sunday. Michael Jackson was a thriller with a hit. You get that every time. You got it last time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'll put a comment on there. But no, and Michael Jackson had the thriller hit, and that was the last time we were in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And people always say, "Oh, you've only got Southampton," but to be honest, Southampton deserve to be there just as much as we do in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And obviously, it's our first semi-final from my time anyway, and Jack's time. So I'm looking forward to it more than anything. You know, they always say leave everything. Like when you go to work, you leave all your personal problems, leave all your problems behind. Just focus on work. This was what trip to Wembley for the final. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I agree with Mark. Just before I continue, yeah, Mark, I 100% agree with Mark. I would say Southampton's first. If you do go, it's first semi-final for a long time. It's 2003, was it?
No. We had one in. We participated in one in 2017. we got to the semi-final, and we played Chelsea. Mark Hughes was our manager at the time, and we basically turned up, did nothing, and lost. It was pretty poor. There was one sort of shaky decision where we had a goal disallowed for a sort of non-foul on the goalkeeper, but we didn't really do much, didn't deserve to win. So, but before that, the previous time was 2003 when we, I think that, sorry, the 2017 was our only Wembley semi-final. 2003, we played at Villa Park against Watford.
And then you got to the final. See, didn't they have the roof? The first
Yeah.
ever, the first, unless you can correct me on this, the stadium actually had the roof on.
Yeah, that's right, at Cardiff.
Completely.
Yeah, it was a brilliant day. It was a brilliant day, and our fans were superb throughout. And it was really interesting. You sort of thinking back to that game, how much it meant to us, even though we lost, and how kind of little it meant to Arsenal at the time, because it wasn't long after. Wasn't long after the Invincibles, and they won everything. And there were more of our fans there seeing the trophy get lifted than there were of theirs. It was a strange old day, but it was a great day, and we did the final proud that day by sticking around to the end, and we made a lot of noise, and we had a great day, but unfortunately we just come up a bit short.
So, Glenn, what are you expecting this weekend then? Considering you're in the semi-finals of the game, what are you expecting to happen, really? And what team do you look to put out?
Well, the team we looked at, I mean, I don't know if anyone saw the game that we participated in last night. That would have been our first choice team, I would have thought. But we were so abject last night that I can't think that there won't be changes. So if you want me to run through it, the back four will be the same as last night. It'll be Forster in goal, and then Bertrand, Vestergaard, Bednarek, Carl Walker-Peters. Midfield two will be Ward-Prowse and Diallo. They're the only two central midfielders that we've got, really, with Romeo being injured. One wing will be Armstrong. The other wing is open to debate a little bit. I'll do that in a minute. Danny Ings will be up front, and I think it'll be Che Adams up front.
Yeah.
And the one remaining spot is on the left wing, and it'll either be Theo Walcott, Nathan Redmond, or Musa Genipo. And to be honest, it probably doesn't matter which one of those three plays, because they're all just as likely to be good or bad. All three of them are very inconsistent. Basically, they're all capable of good games, but they're all capable of having games where you wonder why they're even a professional footballer. So, and anyone who saw last night's game will know exactly what I'm talking about. But
is Danny Ings
there you go.
Is Danny Ings out?
Danny Ings is back now, and he'll certainly start. But
cracking player, Danny Ings. I think he's been brilliant. I think he's a good player, because I think some players suit certain clubs. Like how Vardy, some people, obviously, when he got that chance to go to Arsenal, for example, Danny Ings suits Southampton. He doesn't suit Liverpool, their style or anything like that. I'm not saying Southampton. I'm not degrading Southampton. What I'm saying is,
no, what you're saying.
Yeah, Vardy. Could he do another club?
It's an interesting one with Danny Ings, because he's got 1 year left on his contract at the end of this season. So there's been talk again about him moving, maybe even to Manchester City. To replace Aguero. Now, whether that's feasible or not, or ever likely to happen, I don't know. But if he goes to a big club, he's going to have to get used to being rotated, playing 20 games a season instead of 40. Yeah. He's had a bit of an injury interrupted season as well, so that probably hasn't helped his cause if that's what he intends to do. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer. It's going to be a big summer for us with regards to players committing or leaving. So be interesting to see what happens with him. I think all outcomes are possible. He could sign a new deal. He could just play out the rest of the year and leave for nothing at the end of next year, or he could move on. But it depends how much money any of the clubs have got, who's likely to come in for him. Who knows? So it could go either way, but I'll take your point entirely. He was from this neck of the woods originally. He was with our academy when he was a kid, nice. I think. So he moved away, went around the country, came back. So it's playing for us regularly that's turned him into the sort of fringe England player that he is now. So you're never going to get to that level if you only play 3 games a season or whatever. So
I was going to say, speaking of England, a certain player scored for England the other day. It was in the Southampton squad.
Mr. Ward-Prowse, yes.
We did the watch along, me and Jack, on this, and against England with the underdogs. Oh, thanks, Dad.
Yeah,
Thanks,
San Marino.
But yeah, that's my dad watching. And yeah, obviously, England with the underdogs against San Marino. I'm joking, by the way, when I say that. No, when James Ward-Prowse scored, I was really like, that's good, because I think James Ward-Prowse he's been their outstanding player for Saints. I'm honest.
He has been, and he's the captain now, which is, and he's changed his game a bit. He's become a bit more of a defensive midfielder as opposed to a. But ironically, England play him slightly further forward. It seems when he does play, and you saw that with the goal that he scored. But he's got much more to his game than the set pieces. He's a player that, I mean, a lot's been made about the fact he's always fit. He's started something like 85 games in a row, and he's never missed a minute, sort of thing. So he's a vitally important player for us. If he was out injured, or we would really struggle even more than we do anyway. So I'm a big fan, and he's one of a few that could be player of the year this year. But if he got it, no one would begrudge him that. That's for sure.
Glenn, a question from Sean Sawson, or regular on Leicester Fan TV. Who is your favourite Southampton player, whether it's this season or Southampton player of all time?
Oh, well, I'll go back a long, long way. So I've known the obvious ones. I mean, I'm virtually exactly the same age as Matt Letizia, so I saw his entire career. So you have to mention him. Just don't listen to some of his theories on COVID. But anyway, so I have to say Matt Letizia. Ricky Lambert is another one for more recent times. He's just a fantastic player. Of the current squad, you'd have to go with the two that we mentioned, Danny Ings and James Ward-Prowse, are two of the favourite players at the moment. But no, they're. But yeah, we've had a few over the years, and I know we're gonna talk about Frank Worthington later on.
Yeah, we will do. Yeah, the late Frank Worthington. One thing from Reedy for you, Glenn. Does Glenn think West Brom played well, or did Saints play bad?
Both. West Brom were totally committed, and they had the boost of the result they had against Chelsea at the weekend, which I know was helped by the sending off, but you've still got to go and win the game. And they turned up against us. They had a game plan. They 100% knew what they wanted to do, and we were 100% not on it, because we were, had one eye on the game that we've got coming up on Sunday. So. I mean, I thought we were absolutely abject against West Brom, terrible. But all will be forgotten if we win on Sunday. But that's the way it is for us this season. We're not going to get relegated. We're not going to challenge European positions or anything like that. So it's all about the FA Cup for us.
So, Glenn, from a opposition point of view, with the COVID news, what came out at the weekend about the Leicester players, what's your point of view on it all?
I don't know too much about it, to be honest. Has James Maddison played a game since his injury, or is he?
No, I think he played against Manchester City for about 10 minutes or so, and that was
did he? Yeah,
didn't see him after that.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know the situation around it. I know there's been a bit of a reaction, because since I did your last show with Jamie, I obviously follow Jamie's Twitter feed now, and you sort of pick up a bit of the Leicester news through that. So I know there's been a bit of a to do about it, and I know that maybe you guys are thinking that it's symbolic of a bigger problem.
Good question.
At the club, sort of thing. Marion Pahars is the answer to that one.
Just about
Marion Pahars, is it?
Just about to say that.
Which player, Glenn, would you like to see join Southampton in the summer if you had to bring anybody in? In which positions do you think you need to fill?
We need to fill a lot. We're basically very, very short of fullbacks. We've got two, one right back, one left back, and that's it. We had two backup guys, but they've gone out on loan, and they're not even getting a game for their loan clubs. So that shows the standard that and they're in the Championship and League One. So we are more about squad rebuilding in the summer. I mean, but we definitely need at least two fullbacks. In my opinion, we need another central midfielder, and we need a winger. There's quite a few. I could talk all day about what we actually need and who we need to get rid of, because there's a few of those as well.
We need.
Yeah, well, I think every fan club, every fan could. There's very few. There's very few teams that are happy with what they've got, and there's even less fans that are happy with what they've got. So, but I mean, who would be our ideal player? I mean, I try and be realistic. You know, we're not playing Football Manager here where we can give ourselves a budget of 100 million. Saints have got. I mean, it's interesting because I always look at Leicester and think we're kind of similar sized clubs. The main difference at the moment is your ownership appears to be, from the outside anyway, appears to be a fantastic set of owners, and ours is a guy in China who has never seen a game and has never put a penny into the club. So that kind of seems to be the main difference. But so we are, in theory, self-sustaining. So, you know, that's why we still sell players and you know, buy players in. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it may be that Danny Ings goes with a year left on his contract, in which case we'll have to buy another striker. But if Danny Ings stays, then the priorities are somewhere else.
We'll take him because we.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Is it true though, Glenn, that Danny Ings wants to move to a Champions League side this summer?
Well, that's been mentioned, but you know, you never hear that straight out of his mouth, obviously.
No, you wouldn't. Probably his agent or something like that.
Yeah. I think I don't. Again, one of the advantages of maybe being a little bit older, I don't react to every sort of rumor that I see, or I mean, you do see stuff like that comes out, and then there's always a proportion of the fan base who just go, well, we want him out of the club. He don't want to play for us. Let's get rid of him now. And it's like, well, hang on a second. You know, if he goes, how do we find a player that good? Because if he goes and we don't sign anybody, then we're getting relegated next year because we're not scoring enough goals. So, you know, you got to be a little bit sensible about it. I mean, like, you know, being asked about who would I like to sign, Sergio Aguero, thank you very much, but it ain't going to happen. So,
honestly, you never know in football. The one thing is for sure, if he does move to a Champions League club, it definitely will not be Tottenham. That's for sure.
Well, we got a thing with Tottenham because they seem to specifically target players who've only got 1 year left on their deal. So they have been linked with Danny Ings, and they have been linked with Yannick Vestergaard, who's also got a year left on his deal. And they signed Højbjerg from us last year, who I forget now, but I think he didn't have long on his deal either, which is why we only got 15 million quid for him or whatever it was. So Spurs, it may be, but then Danny Ings has got to make that decision. Does he go to a club like that where he's going to be rotated and not play every game, or does he stay where he is? Yeah,
exactly.
So, Glenn, what are your thoughts on Leicester this season?
I think they've largely been excellent. I look at your squad with envy.
Yeah.
I see the number of good players you've got to come in, so you can have people going to COVID parties and you can still replace. You can still put a decent side out. I know you didn't get the result against West Ham.
No,
and didn't play particularly well. But you know, I look at your starting 11. I've got it in front of me now, and I know Dennis Pratt's kind of a squad player, and I know Iheanacho was until relatively recently, and you know, but those players have come in and done excellently. So I look at your squad and think, yeah, it's full of good players. Much though I try not to like him, because I didn't like him from his Liverpool days. Brendan Rodgers. It's an excellent manager. He goes under the radar a bit. I think possibly because of some of the dumb things he said when he was Liverpool manager. But he is a very good manager. I think he needs to do well. I think he needs to get to the final for him, for himself, because he's all his real success has been in Scotland when he won the league and stuff with Celtic when Rangers were in Division 4. So he didn't really, I think I could have done that quite comfortably. Could
have done that.
But he's done brilliantly for Leicester, and I always look at your midfield three when they're all available. Tielemans, Ndidi, and Maddison, and I think, well, that's as good as anybody's. That is as good as anybody's. Jamie Vardy, we don't like him, and that's historical. But he scored about 400 career goals against us, I think. So, and I know he hasn't scored for a while. So he's we're a good team to play when you're on a bit of a goal drought. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on. But Vardy is obviously, he's a quality player. And you mentioned earlier on about when he, had the chance to sign for Arsenal. I think that the fact that he stayed speaks volumes for the guy.
There's no loyalty in football these days.
No, well, very few. There's the odd case, but for someone like him, especially where he came from, to have the chance to go, if we're led to believe he had the chance to go to Arsenal and turned it down. So if that is true, and I've got no reason to believe it isn't, then fair play to him.
Glenn, a question from Reedy DZN. Glenn, what's your favourite formational setup? I'm not a fan of back three anymore.
Ooh. Well, I know you've been playing the back three recently, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think since Harvey Barnes got injured, is that right?
Yeah.
That seems to have sort of coincided with the three at the back thing. Me personally, I've always liked sort of 4-2-3-1. I've always thought that was my favourite formation, but it relies on you having a centre forward who can kind of hold the ball up and do a bit of everything. Saints play this 4-2-2-2 formation, so which is interesting. It caught a lot of teams out in the early days, but I'm beginning to wonder now if everyone's kind of worked it out a little bit, because teams seem to be finding it a lot easier to cut through us than they were 6 months ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it all depends on what players you've got available. I don't believe in. I mean, I know we were both managed by Claude Puel at one point, and now when he came in with us, he tried to switch to a diamond midfield. With the strikers splitting wide, and we had Charlie Austin at the time who couldn't run 5 yards, and Claude was putting him in the team and expecting him to run up and down the left wing, and it's just crazy. So it didn't work at all. So you've got to look at the players you've got and pick your formation from that. But then I'll talk about it now. 9-0 bingo. We've already done it after we got stuffed 9-0 by you guys.
Yeah,
that was when Ralph decided to stop messing around with the formation, and he just went, yeah, whatever. He just went.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, that was when the 4-2-2-2 came in, and we did. We did sort of like find positions for certain players that made that formation work. Yeah. But yeah, whether it's had its day and we need to do something different now, we'll find out in the coming weeks, I think.
One thing I did want to ask, and I know obviously you've just brought it up about that game. Were you at the St. Mary's at that night? I mean,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
What was? I mean, I know it's one thing to have a bad defeat, but we've had bad defeats before. I mean, we've lost to Villa 5-0 on the pitch and stuff. But what was? I mean, I bet it must have been horrible. On a Friday night, wet Friday night as well. Because if you're going to lose badly, especially when it's raining, chucking it down with rain, it's horrible. I bet it will be worse things. I wouldn't like to go through it.
Well, we've done it again since we liked it so much. We did it again. The Leicester 9-0 was.
Which one hurt more?
The first one, your one. Just briefly do the United one. The United one was, we had a player sent off after half a minute, and then everything went wrong. As in we didn't have anyone on the bench. We had a team of kids on the bench, and he didn't want to sacrifice those in a game where they would just be chasing the ball. We had sort of like 3 attacking players playing in midfield.
Yeah.
And then Mike Dean sent one of our players off for absolutely nothing. We would have got beat 5 or 6, but we get beat 5 or 6 at least once a season. But the reason it was 9 was because of Mike Dean and all the circumstances. The Leicester game was, it had been coming that we were going to get a heavy defeat, but that game started and it was still 0-0. And I said to my son, who was only sort of 14 at the time, I said, we're going to get annihilated here today. And this was at 0-0. And then the first goal went in, red card with it. And I think we were totally disorganised after that. We had, I think he put Ward-Prowse at left back or something horrendous. It was 3-0. Leicester's next 2 shots, 3-0. Sort of, and then another shot, 4-0, and it's just like, my word, 5-0 at half time, I think.
Yeah, it was
and
5 at half time.
by that time, it's just like, well, whatever. People were leaving 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Yeah.
Here's what got to me about some pundits for saying, "Oh, should Leicester took the foot off the gas?" But the thing is, in the football game, you'd rather a team. It's 5-0 at half time. You'd rather the team still go and attack you and score more goals than a team that's just going to sit back, relax, pass the ball about, no, tomorrow. Because that'd be disrespectful to the team. Even though you're losing 5-0, it'll be disrespectful completely.
It's two ways of looking at it. I mean, a lot of teams now, when they're like 3-0 up at half time, for example, in a normal game, they just coast through the second half and just save their energy for next week, because you've got so many games. You've got a game 3 days later. Why bust a gut if you don't have to? So I do kind of get that. But I have no problem with what Leicester did. And I mean, the funniest bit about that game that I remember, and I think I said this to Jamie last time, was that it was just after the Rebecca Vardy, Colleen Rooney thing. So everyone was giving Vardy dog's abuse from the stands about that. And of course, usually if you score the 9th goal from a penalty and then gave it the big one in front of the opposition supporters, everyone would just think you were a bit of a tit. But I just thought, fair enough, mate. Everyone's been giving you stick the whole game, but there was only about 40 of us left in the ground at the time. So
fair play to you though for staying in the stadium, because a lot of fans obviously would have stayed. Considering the way it happened, I mean, as soon as you could tell though, as soon as that the referee were gonna, you can think about it. He didn't want to point to the spot, but at the same time he did. He's like, "Oh, come on, do I do this or not? Oh, I'll just give the penalty." But yeah, I wouldn't like to. I mean, I hope we'll never have that situation with us. But I mean, but the thing is though, apart from when you lost to Man U on that one, I think you come really far, because we were top of the league. What, 24 hours, 48 hours, like that?
We were top of the league at the. We had the Friday night game. At the start of the season, we played Newcastle at home and we won 2-0. So we were top on Friday night, and I think the results on Saturday went with us as well. So we were still top on Saturday night, I think. And then Sunday morning, someone won, and it's been downhill ever since. No, we were okay until Christmas. Hello, Claude.
Bonjour, Claude.
There are lots of possibilities.
It's not my concern.
No. Who has bothered to set up that account just to send that
honestly, Glenn, you'd be surprised on what we get on this show. We've had Bobby Lashley's, we've had Brock Lesnar's, we've even had David Moyes. We have Wesley Fofana. We've had, honestly, it's mad. So in about 5 minutes, you'll probably see Matt Letizia or something like that.
Yeah, maybe so.
I did want to ask. Have you been to the King Power?
No, I haven't. I've been to Filbert Street. So that shows how long ago that was. I went to a game there when I was a kid, and it got abandoned because it rained so much. That was in the early 80s. I think it was one of the first away games I'd ever been to. And then I went again. I think I've been about 4 times. We actually won. We won 4-0 there.
2001.
Yeah, maybe. I think.
Yeah. We've just beat Aston Villa. I've got a book before anyone asks why I remember it. And I went to this game with my dad. I think Svensson scored for us, and Parhard scored in that game. We played all right, to be fair, but then Southampton just got 4 goals. And the reason I asked about if you've been to the King Power, how similar is basically the St Mary's. It's Filbert Street, but is the walk? Oh, I'm saying Filbert Street now. It's the King Power Stadium, but with red seats.
Yeah.
And obviously, in your eyes, you would think the King Power Stadium is St Mary's in blue seats. It's literally identical.
When was yours built? Because ours was
2002.
Oh, right, so ours was a year earlier, but I think it was. I mean, ours was built by Bars Construction, I think it was. So
can someone Google it to see what was ours built by? Because I guarantee you. It's the same.
There might have been the same people who built the King Power. Yeah,
I got a feeling it's very similar to.
Yeah, it is. So it looks
Pride...
like you're stepping into King Power going to Southampton.
I think Pride Park is similar. It's not quite the same, but that was built a few years earlier. Yeah, and I think I think they took the mould and made St Mary's in the King Power. But yeah, I understand they're very similar.
The difference is obviously your away end is the actual, not the full stand,
Behind.
but most of it on it from our side, Cop. Okay. Sorry, my dad's just. I went to that game, rained off Ross, and travel from Worthington. Oh, I don't remember that, Dad. Must have been very young. I don't remember that at all. But no, because obviously our away section is in the corner.
Yeah.
So yours is, well, depends on who you play. If you play a certain team not far from you, the ones that play in blue, you obviously would give them the full stand. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to mention them because you know there'll be some debates. But they bring a big following stuff. But I've always wondered why I was at the corner. But yeah, that's one game I'd love to go to the St Mary's.
What on earth is that question?
Leicester Fan TV is absolutely crazy.
Do you want to answer it, Glenn?
I'm not answering that. I did fail my first driving test. I'll give you that.
Yeah, go for that one then.
Oh dear. So, Glenn, let's move on to this man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the late Frank Worthington. Obviously, over 200 appearances for Leicester, 74 goals. At Southampton, 34 games and 4 goals. So let's talk about Frank.
Well, he was about 35 when he signed for us. Now, I'm probably going to talk about a load of players here that were well before your time, but we had a very good team in the early 80s. We signed Kevin Keegan when he was the current sort of European Footballer of the Year, which is amazing when you think about it. He played for us for a couple of years and then left, went to Newcastle. I'm pretty sure that Frank Worthington came in just after he left, and so it was big boots to fill. But we had a sort of history at the time of bringing in sort of like big players who were slightly past their best when Lauren McMenemy was the manager. For example, we replaced Frank with Joe Jordan, who was full Scotland international, played for Leeds and Man United, and he was about 33 at the time as well. So we signed Frank. He played for a season as a striker, didn't score many goals, but he was brilliant at bringing other players into play, setting up goals for other people. Yeah. We had a lad called Steve Moran up front at the time who went to Leicester after that, and Moran scored loads of goals that year. It was our best ever league season. We came second to Liverpool by 3 points. So Frank came in, and when he signed, it was like, my word, how old is he? But he was excellent. He obviously didn't have the legs to run around much anymore, but he did so much. And you're talking about the blue lot from down the road. We played them in the FA Cup that year, and
blue lot.
Frank made a very decent contribution to the winning goal in the 90th minute, which was lovely. So
fantastic.
My dad actually put a comment earlier. Did you manage to see Frank Worthington play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw that whole season. I mean, I've had a season ticket since the late 80s, but I went to virtually every home game from about 1977. Yeah. So that's I mean, I was young. I mean, I think he was there 83, 84.
Peter Shilton as well.
Oh. Yeah, Peter Shilton. So I was sort of 14, 15. So some of the memories have been filled in by sort of like little clips that you see on TV. But I can remember Frank very well. I've loved reading some of the comments about him, about how he nearly signed for Liverpool, but that story about him going to Mallorca to get his heart rate down, but he spent the whole week in the company of ladies, I think, and came back with high blood pressure, so Liverpool didn't sign him. So whether it's true or not, I hope it is. It's a great story, but I think everyone looks back and says there aren't any characters, like the old days sort of thing. But there ain't players like Frank Worthington around anymore. And
no.
I think when they go, you think about it, and you've got to celebrate people like that. And I know he was a big hero for Leicester as well.
That's it.
And top man.
I think you just got to be privileged, don't you, to watch these sort of players. Obviously nowadays it's all about the Messi, the Ronaldos, the Mbappes, and the Erling Haaland. Yeah,
but they're not at your club, are they? That's
it's in the world of football, don't it? Obviously, our club, it's like Jamie Vardy, Schmeichel,
Jerry Saget.
Jerry Taggart, Matt Elliott, and that. So
Jerry Taggart.
Oh, honestly, that's one guy. I don't know if you heard a story from Dean Windass about Jerry Taggart. He was talking to Tubes, and he was saying that how Robbie Savage were giving him a lot of jip. Meaning,
he said it was Burst Construction who built King Power.
Yeah, I think it's the same lot. Bars.
Okay, hence the reason why they're both the same.
Yep.
Yep. His best ever goal was for Bolton. The famous
against Ipswich.
Don't think there has, Mark.
Have there been any 10-0s at Wembley? Maybe at the weekend, Mark.
I actually got a chance to see Frank Worthington in our last ever game at Filbert Street. You know, like the present, the future, and the past and stuff. And it was the last ever game. I was only 9 years old at the time, and my dad actually sent me a picture on the day of his unfortunate passing. Cause I didn't know what happened. I was asleep, and I woke up and I'm like, oh my god! And it's a picture of me with Frank Worthington, just before the game. And I was saying, it's 2002, so he's not exactly back in the days of how amazing he was, but it was nice to see him playing. It was good cross scene. He crossed for a good goal for I think it was Stan Collymore. I think it was something like that. But it was just nice. It was nice to see him. And my dad was telling me a lot of stories about him, and obviously his famous goal for Bolton.
Yeah.
Arguably, I don't think, because people always talk about volleys or overhead kicks, but that goal was so good because he did a couple of kick-ups and flicked it over, boom shakalaka, it's in the back of the net.
The Ipswich defence.
Oh, I know, it's insane. So, but yeah, Frank Worthington, what a legend.
So, Glenn, how would you sum up your season so far, mate?
Mixed.
Come on, give us
mixed.
Positivity.
At risk of sounding like Sven-Goran Eriksson, first half good, second half not so good.
A legend at Leicester.
I forgot you had him as well.
He's the sole survivor of Sven's signings, Casper.
He was more like a celebrity, isn't it, Glenn?
Yes. Yeah, he went around collecting money, didn't he, and then getting sacked and then living off the proceeds. So Saints season. We lost our first 2 games, and then after that was the period where we won sort of 6 out of 7, ended up top of the league. We were pretty good whilst it was still 1 game a week. Until sort of Christmas time, and then it went to sort of 2 games a week, and then we started struggling because we got injuries. Our squad isn't big enough. Yeah. We don't have the replacements to bring in, and we beat Liverpool, I think, on New Year's Day or just after, and ever since then we've been really, really struggling. And I don't know whether it's just tiredness. Ralph's style of play is very high intensity, and if we play with high intensity, then we do well. But if we drop off, then we seem, at the moment anyway, to be very easy to score against. So we're going to limp to the end of the season. The win we got last week against Burnley, that's kind of made it virtually certain that we'll be safe and won't go down, even though our last 6 games are difficult, including game against you guys. But so. The season will be kind of distinctly unmemorable if we lose on Sunday. If we get to the final, people will remember it as being a half decent season. But if we don't, then it'll kind of be another treading water season where we haven't really achieved a great deal.
Yeah. Someone put Paul out.
Yeah. 4 years too late, mate.
Yeah. Let's talk about this man. Glenn.
Yes.
He's been fantastic for you guys. Obviously, he's had his few injuries and that. But let's talk about Danny Ings. How do you think he's actually settled in at Southampton after all these injuries? What he's had at Liverpool. He never really had the chance, has he, after getting injured and that? Because he's been out for quite a long time.
Well, we had him for a year on loan. We signed him on deadline day, and he played a season where he was a bit stop-start because he kept getting little hamstring injuries and whatnot. And it was interesting. I mean, I'm not a big one for following, Instagram and things like that. But during the summer, after he'd had his loan season, there was a bit of. He was sort of posting lots of pictures of him training. Like he'd taken a personal trainer away with him on holiday to sort of like keep him fit. And he came back the following season. He'd signed permanently, and there were a lot of Saints fans who didn't want to sign him permanently because he'd had a few injuries and whatnot. It was 20 million quid, and everyone, quite a few people were saying is there an option not to sign him? And we did sign him, and thank God we did, because that season, which was last year, he was magnificent. It's just a different level to all our other players. He's got that intelligence of movement. He always finds space. He's got very good feet. He finds a way to get his shots away. And last year I can't remember how many goals he got, 22, 23. So it was an excellent season. This year, I think with it being a shortened season, not having so much of a pre-season, I think he's had a few little niggles, but he's still far and away our best striker. So if we do decide that, or he decides that it's he's going to move on, then it's going to be a big shirt for us to fill. Put it that way.
Question, boys, from Curtis Knott for you all. If Southampton didn't sell all their best players, do you think they could have won the league at all, Glenn?
Top 4.
What do you think?
Well, I think with any club, you can pick the best 11 players that they've ever had and find a team that could qualify for the Champions League or even win something. There has been a few times, sort of like over the years, where we've got to the summer, and I thought if we add 3 more players or 2 more good players, we could seriously, do some damage next year. And we've ended up selling 4 as opposed to buying anybody in. So it's always quite a few times it seemed like 3 steps forward, 4 back sort of thing. You can debate it, and you can make a very good team out of players that are still playing in the Premier League that have been through Southampton. But
for example,
well, I mean,
he was good for Southampton.
Sorry, who was that? I missed that.
Adam Lallana.
Yeah, Adam Lallana was great, but he blotted his copybook a little bit when he left, because he was the captain, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to stay forever. I signed a 4-year contract," and then he threw his toys out and left. So he's not the most popular. Put it that way. But no, undoubtedly a good player. I mean, if you go back, obviously there was Gareth Bale years ago, but more recently we had. I know he was never our player, but we had Toby Alderweireld on loan for a season. He was great, and then he moved to Tottenham instead of signing for us.
Virgil as well.
Virgil, of course, yeah, he was Toby's replacement.
Yeah,
and Virgil was great, but Virgil was always too good for us. I'm not being disparaging about Saints here. He's just a different level of player altogether. And he's gone to Liverpool, and to be honest with you, if he hadn't got injured, it wouldn't have surprised me at all if he'd left, this summer coming up to go and play for Real Madrid or Barcelona or someone like that. Or would
all the Liverpool fans coming on now saying all this.
Well, if you think I care about what Liverpool fans think, then that's another story altogether. but no, we've undoubtedly had some very good players. And we've lost a lot of them, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And I don't know, who's your best player now? I mean, if someone comes in and sticks 80 million quid on the table for James Maddison or Ndidi, they're going to go.
I think Ndidi 100%. The thing is with Ndidi, I've said this on a few of our shows that we've done. I when he first came in, no, but now Ndidi is a lot better player than N'Golo Conte.
Really?
Not when he first came in. I'm clear before anyone jumps down my throat. When he first came in, I was Ndidi was just finding his feet. But now you look at how N'Golo Conte plays and look how Ndidi plays. Ndidi's a lot better player. I'm not saying Conte's bad before anyone says. I'm saying that Ndidi's a lot better player. And a lot of people now, some disagree with me, some agree with me, but it's the way that he's so strong. And you wouldn't think when people always, you said just then, Glenn, about players will go eventually and stuff like that. After what's happened, I think we can all. Well,
okay, come on and explain to me what's happened there. I know Maddison.
So basically, they went to go and have a party. Is it Perez's house or Chowder's?
They went to Perez's house, and then there were like 5 of them: Morgan, Hamza, Perez, Maddison, Harvey Barnes. And then apparently they switched the lights out and that, so they didn't go in, and then he went to Hamza Chowdhury's house to carry on partying.
But technically, though, Perez technically didn't break the rules of going to another house. He just broke it by people coming to his house.
No, but all them people went over to Hamza's house as well at the same time, 18 other people, which were like young women and that, so I'm not sure.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what happened. And obviously on Sunday, it came out
it's hectic.
before kickoff. So if there was going to be if there was a worse time for a story to come out about a club, no matter whatever's the situation, that was the worst time, because we were all looking forward to this game on Sunday. I know we lost, but beforehand we were like, it's a top 4 clash between the Fox and the Hammers. And then literally, I didn't watch Jamie's show because I was asleep.
They've let us down, basically, Glenn.
I know. Next minute, my dad comments, "You're not coming on." I was just like, I was asleep. And next minute, something about massive thing up and about or something that broke rules or something. I'm like, I thought. I mean, I've seen it on other clubs like Villa. You've seen it with Grealish. You've seen it at Phil Foden, and you've seen it at other clubs. But I didn't think for 1 second that we'd have it at Leicester.
Yeah.
You'd have thought, with Maddison, what's annoyed Leicester fans the most, us fans, is the way that when we played Brighton, I don't know if you remember his social distancing celebration, Maddison.
He did that against us, actually, when he scored the first goal against us, and he did this.
I think it was Southampton. I can't remember if it was Southampton or Brighton. I can't remember. And he did that thing. I'm thinking, now you look at me thinking, that's a bit hypocritical if you've done this. But a lot of people are slating him. But to be honest, as someone put this up on Twitter over the day, to be honest, every person's broken at least one rule. Yeah. At least. I mean, I'm not saying that we all here to break rules, and I'm not saying that at all. Everyone's broken at least one rule. Going round someone's house, or going up to 200 miles to go and get a Big Mac, and stuff like that.
Me, mate. Yeah. It's very locally.
Well, yeah. Well, some people on McDonald's. I mean, if you're from Hull, you get nothing. But so there you go.
That's what Grim up north gets you, Ross.
Yeah,
so was it a club discipline thing, or was he not allowed to play because of COVID protocols? Or
no, Brendan Rodgers made them train on their own. Obviously, took them out of the squad. But I guess footballers need to learn that the rules apply to them as well. You get what I mean, Glenn? They just seem to think that they're bigger than the government and whoever else.
I mean, fair play. If it's
they
a
just
club,
need morals, don't they?
Yeah, if it's a club thing to stop them from playing against whoever it was, West Ham, then fair play to the club. They've handled that well. So, but be interesting to see whether.
Agree.
I mean, whether they play on Sunday.
That comment
they got caught.
Oh, thank you, Paul. But another question as well. I mean, I said this over there. I don't know if you remember the story, Glenn, of how Nigel Pearson got sacked at Leicester.
It's about his son.
What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying it's not the same story, but it's the same situation where 3 players have done something out of the ordinary, should I say?
They got sacked for it.
And they didn't get released. They got sacked. Now here's the question I asked: with Maddison being a top player, Hamza being a player, and Perez being a good player,
Pearson would have got rid.
Well, Perez is a world beater against us. He scored 2 hat-tricks.
Yeah, Perez. He might score against us. But here's the question, though: if that have happened years ago with them players, if obviously it happened now, should they have been sacked, or should there have been anything? Or is it because they are such a big name? It's like favouritism in the England squad.
I think the game's moved on. I mean, from what I recall, the Nigel Pearson incident, the 3 players were sort of youth players.
There was,
and it's easier to sack those. I mean, I guess not similar. There was that incident at Derby, wasn't there, with the car crash and the drink driving and all that, where Richard Keogh got released, and I mean, I just saw a thing flash up there about people getting the niggers in a twist about a lockdown breach. I mean, I don't want to preach and say what should happen, but I think this would just be a slap across the wrist.
There'll be a lot of Karens watching soon, probably.
and I'd be amazed if they're not at least in the squad on Sunday.
I think the problem is that what I said the other day, I can't remember what I said it to now. I said about if you watch now, Chowdhury, Maddison, and Perez are going to absolutely give the performance of their absolute life. I'm not saying we're going to forget about it. It's like forgive and won't. Right, what's that famous saying?
Forgive and forget.
You can forgive, but you won't forget. The thing is, though, there's been a lot of things have happened over the years. Danny Simpson of incidents with his girlfriend a few years ago, and obviously he's known as a legend at our club. There's been incidents over years with other players like Stan Collymore and stuff, and obviously we forgave. And you can imagine there was an incident years ago in La Manga with the players with Paul Dickoff, Keith Gillespie, and Frank Sinclair. Imagine if that happened now, the media, oh my days, and Twitter and Facebook. I mean, that's the thing. It's social media. It can be either like Marmite, it's like Robbie Savage. You either love him or you hate him. For it. So yeah.
Right then, Ross and Glenn. Let's move on from COVID. Let's talk about score predictions for the weekend, Glenn. We'll start with you, Glenn.
We'll start with me. Okay. Well, literally just before I did come on here, we recorded the Total Saints podcast, which will go out tomorrow, which has got a contribution from Jamie on it. Your Jamie, who did an interview with Ben. So, listen up for that. So I've just recorded that, and we were mainly talking about our pathetic performance last night, but we got to talking about the semi-final, and on the score prediction, I was talking about sort of like how difficult a game it was going to be, and I just said, eventually I said, I've got to be positive, so I'm going to go 2-1 for us, but I don't really know why. And that's kind of the way I feel. If I look at it logically, look at your team, look at our team, we are gonna, if you've got Ndidi and Tielemans playing, and be it Maddison or Pratt or whoever is playing in the centre of midfield, that'll be where you'll give us the most problems. If our central midfielders, Ward-Prowse and Diallo, have a good game and they stay in touch with the back four, and we don't get strung out, then we've got a good chance. If we play well as we have done this season, we can beat anybody. We can beat any of the top sides. But we haven't played well for quite a long time, so it's a bit of a stretch to expect us to suddenly play Leicester off the park with the players that you've got. So if I'm brutally honest, I'm not very optimistic about our chances, but I'll like I say, I'll go for 2-1 for us, but I don't really know why.
Ross?
So for mine, I mean, prediction, you just said that, Glenn, but when you're in a cup competition, form book's out the window.
Yeah.
100%. There's been teams that got relegated and they've still won the FA Cup. Wigan.
The Wigan double, win the FA. Yeah, we thought we were on for that for a while this year, win the FA Cup and get relegated. But
well, there you go. I mean, they won it. They're great header. I always remember that goal, Ben Watson, brilliant header. But just form book goes out the window for cup competition. It's like with when you play your rivals, like when we play Forest or Derby or Coventry, if we lost 6 in a row before, and we won't care about that. We'll just be focused on that. It's like saying when you play Pompey, form book's out the window, no matter what league you're in, no matter what, you play. I remember you playing in League One and stuff, and it was still like a massive game. We
beat them 4-0. It's a convenient time to drop in that we beat them 4-0 last time. We played them, but carry on, move on.
That was the same day we played Luton. I was at that game at Luton away, and James Justin's first ever goal was against the Luton. So that was fun. Oh, sorry, is Jack Dubdimaz there?
The Luton Cafu.
There we go. So I was about to plug that in there. But now my score prediction, I mean, it depends on what team plays out. I mean, it's not always about, not making excuses because the team's in. So my dad's just put 2-1 to Leicester after extra time, Nacho and Vardy. Oh, do you know what? Me and my dad, I'm actually watching the game with my dad on Sunday. Social distancing, of course. It's nice. It'd be nice to watch it because it's first time, also our first semi-final ever. Also, my dad's seen lots of semi-finals and finals, but I've never seen one. So it's the first time I'm gonna watch it, and it'll be an honor to watch it with my dad. But I'm gonna say 2-0. I think it'll be one of them games where
6-2.
Them 3 letters will get involved.
6-2.
6. Wow. I mean,
there's a one from Claude Powell as well. Seems high intention. No.
Oh dear me.
Claude would be delighted with that.
I reckon what will happen.
Sideways and backwards.
So, from my perspective, I think Southampton. It will be one of them 3 letters will get involved. Obviously, I'm not going to say what, but we all know what they are.
Ross.
I've not said I've said the 3 letters.
Yeah.
There'll be a massive decision, and I think whether it'll go, I think it could go for. This is how I reckon it'll happen.
10-0 revenge.
Danny Ings think will be have a goal. Next minute, for about 10 minutes, they'll be looking at it. Was his armpit offside? Was his hair offside? Stuff like that. And then obviously, we'll go up and score a few minutes later with, I'm going to say Vardy, and I think there'll be a last-minute goal. And I think I've got the feeling Maddison is just going to give the game of his life and try and get, what's the word? Redemption? No, not redemption.
Yeah, that's the word.
Reputation a bit back a bit, but I'm going to say 2-0. Well, no, actually, no, I said 3-0 actually, because I said on the. We've got to send these videos off, and sorry, I'm 3-0. I did mine earlier, so I'm going to say Maddison, Perez. He always scores against Southampton, so I'm going to go for it. 3-0. Sorry, 3-0. Maddison, Perez, and Mr. Vardy, and there'll be a massive thing involved with the 3 letters.
Actually, what's the thing about it? I bet you guys were all, I know it's half time in your quarterfinal against Man United when the draw was made. Yeah. I bet you guys were jumping up and down when you got us.
You know what? No. You know what? Surprisingly, no, because because they were the same people that cheered up and down when we got Wickham back in 2001.
What happened there then?
We lost.
Well, all I'm going to say is, Glenn, I don't know if you've got Google right next to you.
No, I haven't.
Google, or after this, Google teletext striker, then you'll understand why that we don't cheer up and down when we get a lower league side or someone that's not massive.
Yeah, the perceived weaker side. Yeah.
Trust me. I know that story. You're thinking WTF, because basically he played 1 game. What this guy basically, the moral of the story is, teletext back in the day.
Yeah. Of course I do.
Basically, Wickham were advertising a striker that wasn't cup tied. So basically, putting out an advert saying, we need a striker. Yeah. And a guy named Roy Essendo answered the call. And I was at this game.
Remember the name? Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, he played 1 game for Wickham, and he got and scored the winner in the last minute. And now this was the start. You said you had a downfall. That was the start of our downfall because we were 4th in the Premier League, chasing a UEFA Cup spot / Champions League. Within the space of 8 games after that, Roy Essendo to Calara, we went from 4th to 13th. Mm-hmm. And we got relegated the next season with Peter Taylor. So, that's the reason why I didn't jump up and down when we got yous, because it's still going to be a very tough game. Southampton a very good side. So, there'll be some fans out there like, we got Southampton, all that stuff. But no, absolutely not.
I tell you what, it was funny because, like I say, it was half time in your game. I think it was 1-1 at the time, and I assumed that Man United were going to do what they always do, which was be crap in the first half and then win in the second half. And so the draw was made, and the first game came out was Chelsea Man City, and I thought, we got Leicester or Man United. It's like the 9-0 derby, isn't it? And I thought, how long is it going to take before someone says something? And literally, they went back before the second half had even kicked off. I can't remember who the commentator. It might have been Ian Dark, the commentator, who's a Pompey fan, by the way.
We're on BBC. Our game against Man U.
Oh, was it? I wasn't there. Guy Mowbray. But whoever it was came out with 9-0's going to get mentioned a few times. Here we go. But to be honest, so it didn't really matter to me who won that game. But you played really well that second half, and you won that game relatively comfortably. Yeah. So. But to be honest, because we did beat Leicester after that 9-0, so we kind of put that one to bed a little bit. Yeah. So I was pleased. I was pleased that you won rather than Man United, because I just wouldn't have wanted that. Not Man. It's something about Man United at Wembley. I think that would have been nasty for us.
I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. I think. It's a shame. There's only one downside to this. I know the fans, but not because you think now they'll have 2,000 fans in, something like that. You'd have thought they would have 1,000 Leicester fans, and 1,000 Southampton fans, and then you would have thought with one
one team coming from the north and one team coming from the south. It can't have been too difficult to sort of like keep the fans apart, use one side of the stadium for Leicester or the other side for Stamford.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what they've actually, I mean, when they said that one semi-final was going to have fans in it, I kind of assumed it would be the other one because it's the two sort of bigger clubs, if you like.
Yeah.
But then I saw it was just going to be people invited who live near Wembley, and I thought, oh, that's why they've given it the Saints Leicester game, because it will actually be worse for the player having 2,000 people who aren't invested in the game at all. They'll just be like, like a goal will go in, and no one, they're just going to go, oh, whatever.
I can guarantee you this will happen. So, but I would say, I'll go to one nights out and stuff. Usually now these days they've all got their phones out. Like, I can guarantee you that most of them will be on their phones, like just toddling, looking at Instagram.
Yeah.
But apparently it's 80. They were still charging 80 quid a ticket. Now I don't know about you. I wouldn't cross the road to go and to pay, let alone pay 80 quid to watch two teams I'm not interested in. I just wouldn't. If it was Liverpool, Man United playing across the street, I wouldn't go and watch that. I just wouldn't.
I don't get it. Right, they should. Imagine if, for example, if Man U got there, they'll be all right because their fans are from London anyway. So they won't be too bad. But there is one thing I do want to bring up. The comments straight away. I'm surprised no one's actually put it since the beginning. I mean, I think you had this before about how much you look like the Southampton manager.
Yeah,
I've got to bring up once and once only because when I remember you on the first show with Jamie, and I was just like, because I didn't actually see what your name was. I just tuned in and thought to say, I honestly, this is not a joke. I generally was like, what's the Southampton manager doing on the on TV? I'm like, what's going on?
you thought Jamie had suddenly become a big hitter, didn't you? And he had a direct line to the manager. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, there is a bit of a similarity, I guess. I think it's the grey beard, which I've had for a while now. But if you look at comparisons, I think I said this last time, but we're roughly the same height. Sort of 6'1", 6'2"-ish, roughly the same height, roughly the same age. Because I think he's 53, I'm 52.
Oh, that's not too far then.
I think he probably enjoys his job a lot more than I enjoy mine. He's probably got job satisfaction and all that stuff, and he speaks 4 languages and is really intelligent and is probably really thin. He's not carrying the extra 4 stone in weight that I'm carrying. So, so other than that, identical. But I'll take it.
I thought I'd have to bring, couldn't not talk about it.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm gonna go 3-0 at the weekend. I reckon we'll win. I'm gonna go for Kelechi to score. He seems to be on quite a good run of form. 9 goals in his last 6. So it's hopefully he can keep up. And his last goal he scored at Wembley, I think it was against Tottenham Hotspurs. So. Right then, Glenn, before we wrap up the show, where can everyone find you on social media, buddy?
Right, so 2 places. So we've got Total Saints Podcast, which is at Total Saints Pod. Yeah. Me personally, my tag is at L1-10. L1 League, that stands for League 1-10. League 1-10 is my blog that I write, which is very irreverent and not what you'd normally find on a football blog. Basically writing match reports on Saints. So the West Brom one from last night is in the works, and that's going to be interesting. Yeah. Might break the swear word record in that one. But no. So if you want to have a look back through what I said after you gubbed us 9-0, then feel free to go.
I think you're going to get a lot of viewers now on that.
Yeah, maybe so. But and the next edition of Total Saints Podcast is out tomorrow. You can find that on Spotify and all the normal places. So you'll hear me moaning about the West Brom game on that as well.
Oh no. So Glenn, thank you for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure. No great talking to you.
No worries. Nice to speak to you, lads. Keep up the good work.
We'll see you for the next Southampton game in the Premier League.
Yeah. All right then. Oh, it's only in about 3 days, isn't it?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. Yep, no worries. All right, then, lads.
Glenn. Thank you. Right, Ross, let's wrap up the show, mate.
I can't believe what my dad's just... Hang on a minute. Right? I want to put that comment up about Keith. Hang on a minute. Right.
Talk for England. Graham Benton.
Is that it now? Is it because of the hair?
I don't
Since
know.
when do I look like Graham?
Here's a message from Claude.
Please say it in the
Au
accent.
revoir from your au revoir from your best ever manager. Never seen a high intensity football like this. Cheers, Claude. It's not my concern. Bonjour, je m'appelle Jake.
Je m'appelle Ross. You know, that's it.
Je m'appelle Jana. Thank you for watching this episode of the
Please
Southampton semi-finals on Leicester Fan TV.
God, you're going to turn into Joey Barton next. He goes from Scouse to French.
But no, guys, thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure, even though it's been about an hour and 5 minutes, but hopefully it's been worth it and entertained you.
It has.
Come on, you Foxes, for Sunday, and let's go and win. Any last messages, Ross?
Thank you, Dad, for watching. I shared the thing out. That's a bit. Like and share this video.
Like and share the video and subscribe if you're new, guys. Help us grow. We're on we're on nearly 6.5. So
please put that comment on. No, I can't believe that. That one.
Brilliant, lads.
No,
well done.
That one. Hey, listen, he scored goal, so I'll take that.
Nice to see the Leicester fans still love me.
Well, we respect you, Claude.
Claude the fraud. Right, guys. Thank you for watching. This has been J&R. I really hope you've entertained it, and thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. as we've got the legend, the Bolton fan, Fogdad on. So it should be a great chat. Locks will join you on Friday for the Fan Zone show, and Jamie will be back for the pre-match / aftermath show for the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and we'll be here for the watch-along starting at 5:30. So catch us then, and thanks for watching, guys, and this has been J&R.
Yep, in a bit.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pals at ADT Taxis, Feedme, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans' debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.